always loved to cook.
A passion.
It was literally like I was born knowing that I wanted to do this.
Rooted in history.
I love paying homage to old classics.
Shared with others.
Like essentially putting yourself out to a bunch of strangers.
It's personal.
It's the roots of who I am.
Creative.
There's so many different things you can do.
Playful.
Little pops for fun, texture differences.
And progressive.
We're constantly trying to raise the bar up to get better and better.
It's local.
You're going and finding farms in Alabama and using their stuff.
It's regionally inspired by the products.
And exotic.
Great chefs pushing the envelope, avant-garde food.
A labor of love.
Finding the proper techniques to utilize and honor something all the way through from start to finish.
A lasting impression.
The energy, the food, the service, the hospitality.
Trust me, this ain't no fad. This has been around a long time.
A small taste of what you find when you meet Alabama's amazing chefs. Over the next hour, we're going to meet some of those amazing chefs like Frank Stitt, who's known as the godfather of Southern cuisine. You can ask anyone. They'll tell you Frank Stitt has had a bigger impact on the food scene in Central Alabama than just about anyone. He's won all kinds of awards, but he doesn't like talking about himself. Instead, he likes to talk about the farmers, the bussers, the servers, the bartenders, and the other staff who he says have as much to do with his success as he does. When you see legendary chef Frank Stitt in his crisp white coat, you might mistake him for a doctor. And that could have easily been his career path. His father and his father's father were both physicians.
Being Frank Stitt III, there was a certain expectation. Sure, I considered it, but I was swept away by the excitement of food and restaurants.
He was swept from his home in Cullman to Northern California, then to London and the south of France. He worked alongside world-renowned chefs and food writers, but eventually he made his way back home. He opened this iconic restaurant in 1982.
What I was hoping to do was to blend my love of French country cooking with our local Southern ingredients, but in a little bit of a sophisticated but not too fancy. I mean, hence Highlands Bar and Grill.
But the food is of the highest caliber. We started with his famous baked grits and grilled oysters, then on to grilled triggerfish with artichokes and fennel, and venison on a celery root puree with red wine poached pears. It was all as good as it looks. I'm
not about molecular cooking or giving you an edible balloon that's floating through the dining room. I mean, that can be interesting for some people, but that's not really what interests me. My philosophy is more about provincial, country, great food with the greatest ingredients, cooked with the most love and care and attention to detail.
His food and all that detail has been garnering national attention for years.
Highlands Bar and Grill.
And in 2018, Highlands won the James Beard Foundation Award for Outstanding Restaurant. But Frank is quick to give others the credit for that success.
This is a team. I'm more of the coach. It's not for me, it's for the whole team. And, you know, all of our staff that we've worked together for so many years, there's so many of our staff that are just as vital to our success as I am.
Frank now has 4 restaurants with something for everyone. Right next door to Highland is Chez Fanfan, which looks a lot like a bistro in Paris. Bottega, just down the street, offers Mediterranean cuisine and just celebrated 30 years. He opened Bottega Cafe just a few years later, where you'll find casual Italian fare. He says his plate is full, but
would it be fun to open a wine bar that focused on natural wines? Yeah, that would be fun. But do we really have the time?
Time will tell. Taking care of the land, organic farming, regenerative agriculture, and humane animal husbandry. These are all very important to Frank Stitt, and he says he's seeing those things become more important to farmers and purveyors as well, which is good for the food supply and the earth. Before Frank Stitt started making waves at Highland Bar and Grill, Greek immigrants were establishing the Birmingham food scene. Now, generations later, their impact is still felt in the Magic City. One of their descendants owns a casual meat and three in Homewood. And for Timothy Hanses, whatever's growing in a place like this dictates what you'll find at Johnny's.
What we got?
Timothy Hanses grew up in a culture of cooking.
I have a psychology degree with a minor in German and English from Ole Miss, but I had no choice but to cook,
But you must love it.
Oh, I do. You know, I do. It is a passion. I grew up in the kitchen.
The food scene in Central Alabama was molded by Greek immigrants. From John's Diner, Dimitri's, Ted's, Nicky's, Gus's Hot Dogs, Jim and Nick's, the fish markets, Zoe's, and Sneaky Pete's. Timothy's family, the Hanses, have been a part of that scene for almost 100 years.
They say in the 60s and 70s, if it weren't for the Greeks, that Birmingham would have starved.
Originally from Mississippi, Timothy worked at fine dining restaurants under award-winning chefs from South Carolina to Colorado before deciding to plant roots and open Johnny's in Homewood.
But I knew that I was going to do something with this place that was different. You know, I knew it wasn't going to be a typical meat and three.
He's Greek through and through, but he says what you'll taste at Johnny's isn't authentic Greek food.
The old yayas would come in here, the old Greek women would come here and tell me that my stuff maybe isn't necessarily like the hodyo, like the village, but I don't want it to be.
Instead, he infuses traditional Southern food with a Greek flair and then relies on his fine dining background to raise the bar.
3 weeks ago, there was a sashimi tuna stack up there, you know, with homemade pickles and, you know, sumac vinaigrette, you know, raw fish. You know, you're not gonna see that at a traditional meat and three.
He says the menu at Johnny's is on a chalkboard for a good reason. Local farmers and the season dictate what he'll create.
When squash is in season, we have squash casserole. They say to me, you know, in the middle of December, well, how come I can get squash at Publix? I said, because it's coming from, you know, Honduras or, you know, Mexico or somewhere like that. That's not what we're going to do.
What he's doing at this modest diner is getting a lot of attention. He's been a James Beard nominee for Best Chef in the South for the past few years.
They say you don't want to win it initially because once you win it, they forget about you.
But he's admittedly competitive, and he wants to win, a desire that pushes him and his staff.
We don't want to be average. We don't want to be mediocre. We don't want to be complacent. We want to push forward and show that we can win this award, and then when we do, we'll set another goal.
Our next chef has been a James Beard Award semifinalist for 5 of the last 6 years, and he cooks up delicious meals for folks in Alex City using these wonderful fresh ingredients. He says even with all the accolades, he's not cooking to be better than any other chef. He wants to impress just one person, whoever's eating his food.
Everything that we are getting right now, all these greens, we're gonna make gumbo with.
Rob McDaniel likes spending time in the Springhouse garden. He's inspired by what's about to bloom and what's going to seed.
You grow it and you watch it and you see it go through its lifespan, and then you taste those things along the way and figure out how you can use those.
His few dozen raised beds aren't nearly enough to feed the patrons at Springhouse Restaurant in Alex City near Lake Martin, but it doesn't hurt to have fresh vegetables close by.
We try to get delicious, amazing ingredients and do as little to them as we can to make them what they're supposed to be.
Rob showed us that. He made some of that gumbo for us. Even without the seafood, it's enough to impress any gumbo lover. And the braised rabbit pasta was delicious. But when a chef puts a date on the menu, you know it's changing often.
That is why we do what we do, is to be creative. And if we can't be creative, then we need to be doing something else.
And that need to create is one of the reasons Rob scrapped his plan to become a chiropractor like his grandfather.
After I failed anatomy the 3rd time, I kind of decided that a chiropractor was probably not the best field for me to be in. And around that same time, I started working at a restaurant and just fell in love with it.
So the Haleyville native graduated from Auburn with a hotel and restaurant management degree and went to culinary school in Vermont. He challenges himself and his staff to be better tomorrow than they are today. And the payoff is the instant gratification when they create something amazing.
You put it on a plate and you serve it to that person and they take a bite and you see them light up, hopefully. To do that is personal, you know.
Like any artist, his creations are very personal to him. It's a vulnerable position for a chef who puts so much of himself into his food, hoping to make you happy. Rob says when love goes into a dish, though, you can taste it. Trip Malden is making some incredible dishes in Cahaba Heights as he dreams of different ways to blend flavors and textures. Even as a child, he'd cook up culinary creations, but chef was not his first career choice. His real name is Journey, but everybody calls him Trip. The Montgomery native is the executive chef at Satterfield's in Cahaba Heights. He considers himself a new American chef.
American cuisine is, you can't really pinpoint it. It's a melting pot of different cultures, cuisines, ethnicities, and there's so much to pull from and to learn from all this melting pot.
And that's just one of the things he loves about his job. But it's a career path that almost didn't happen. Tripp graduated from the University of Alabama with a degree in finance. Eventually, his creative side won out.
And then from there, I decided, you know what, this is my passion, this is what I want to do, and so I stuck with it.
For chefs, the learning's not over when culinary school ends. Tripp moved from that school in Colorado to San Francisco to work with some of the best chefs in the country.
The education I got from cooking in San Francisco and in Napa County was priceless because the ingredients, the cuisine was eye-opening. You know, it was things I'd never seen before.
He brought that knowledge back home to Alabama a few years ago and now lets his creative juices flow at Satterfield's. His menu changes often and is based on what fresh ingredients his farmers are offering.
So your mind starts to think, I can pull this and this and this, and we can create that dish from there.
The possibilities are endless.
Sometimes I'll get an idea in my head and it just doesn't work. For example, sassafras, which you think of root beer, the old-fashioned style. I still haven't figured out how to use it because every time it tastes like medicine. So, you know, there's things that don't work.
But then there are the crazy-sounding ideas that work amazingly well, like when he decided to incorporate white chocolate into a scallop dish. I tried it. It was simply incredible.
That's the fun part of being a chef, is sometimes you get that chance to kind of push it a little bit to see how the customers react to it, which is a good, it's rewarding when you feel like you've hit something and the customers enjoy it.
Every chef I've met says they're really in this business because they want to make people happy, and good food can do that. It's the instant gratification of seeing someone try your dish, then smile.
We're going to use the best seafood and find the best products that Alabama has to offer.
We'll meet an amazing chef who got his start with a bit of BAM! Now he showcases fabulous flavors from the Gulf in his own restaurants. Plus,
I always had a very personal relationship with food.
From bussing tables to creating fabulous food, how a tragedy changed one man's path and led him to become one of Alabama's most well-known amazing chefs. Take a look at all this variety. There is so much to learn about seafood. Bill Breon knows a lot. He says he can tell how long a fish has been out of the water by looking at its eyes and gills. When he opened Fisher's Dockside in Orange Beach 5 years ago, he wanted only the best quality. At first, he said it wasn't easy to find. When you ask Bill Breon where he's from, the answer isn't easy. His dad was in the military. He was born in Great Britain. They moved every 3 years. But his dad retired in Louisiana when Bill was in grammar school, and he says he finally felt at home.
We started fishing, and I ate crawfish for the first time, and then I became like, I just absorbed Louisiana. So we hunt, we shoot ducks, we do whatever. I mean, go frogging, I mean, you name it, I've done it, I love it. So, you know, the outdoors part of it is great, but, you know, you got to eat when you're out there. So that's kind of where it started for me, is, you know, cooking around campfires.
And so the seed was planted. Then he had to figure out how to get his foot in the door in New Orleans. He chose a pretty big door.
I didn't know anybody at the time, so I knocked on the door of Emeril's, and the chef opened the back door, and I stayed all night, and they told me to go home, and I was like, if you're gonna hire me, I wanna know what cleanup is, I don't wanna leave. And they're like, you can stay and clean up if you want to, I mean, whatever.
That's how he got the job. He didn't go to culinary school. He says Emeril Lagasse was his school. He spent 14 years working with legendary chefs in the Big Easy, then decided to take a chance at Fisher's Marina in Orange Beach.
When I got here, it didn't feel like we were using what was around us to the best of their ability. You know, I mean, this is a seafood mecca. I was sitting back and I need more seafood than I kept on a regular basis because I wanted the best. I knew it was here. I just had to find it.
After several years, Bill believes he has found it and now has opened a third restaurant on the Gulf Coast.
Playa's beach food too, so it's got a little bit of everything. You've got really nice high-end seafood dishes as well as tacos. We make all our own tortillas in-house, so it's really fun.
And he still keeps in touch with his mentor, Emeril. He says Emeril comes to fish at the marina in the summers and eats at Bill's restaurants. Is there a lot of pressure when you're cooking for someone like Emeril?
Yeah, but you got, you know, I mean, the bottom line is you shouldn't stress out over it, and you know, just cook the food that you cook, and that's why they're here, you know. They wouldn't be sitting in your restaurant if it wasn't good.
You don't have to live near the ocean to love seafood. Muscle Shoals native Adam Evans is proof of that. He's bringing his talents to Birmingham, hoping to be a first choice for those in the Magic City who yearn for a taste of the Gulf. But don't worry, there are plenty of menu options for you landlubbers as well. Automatic Seafood isn't even open yet, but the buzz about it is loud.
Seafood is it's my personal favorite just because it requires a lot of finesse, but I think, you know, it's a pretty simple process. You get a really good fish and you use a simple technique, and you don't really have to do too much to it.
Adam Evans is an Alabama boy. He's made the rounds, though, as he's trained as a chef and worked in restaurants from New York to New Orleans to Atlanta.
I learned when I got to New York and started cooking in the kitchen there that I didn't know how to cook at all.
He says legendary Birmingham chef Frank Stitt's book really made him realize the possibilities.
I remember thinking, well, if, you know, he's from Coleman, I'm from Muscle Shoals. You know, I want to do the same thing he's doing, and I want to do it in Birmingham.
And now that dream has come true. His restaurant on 5th Avenue South in Lakeview will open soon. The building used to house the old Automatic Sprinkler Company, which is why they chose the name Automatic Seafood and Oysters. They had to add all the windows, and they're working hard to keep as much of the original character as possible. But they really want the food to be what gets the attention.
I like to spend a lot of time sourcing the product and finding the best fish, and who can, you know, try to find someone that goes out and gigs flounders in the morning and brings them here in the evening.
He made a lot of those connections as chef at The Optimist in Atlanta. He says guests can expect a wide variety of fresh seafood.
What we want to focus on here are products from the Gulf. In highlighting that, you need to show what comes out of other waters. And so, you know, there's certain fish from the East Coast Atlantic that I love cooking and love. I think it's really interesting to taste that alongside something that comes from the Gulf, just to kind of see the difference. Yeah. And I think, you know, you'll see the qualities there on both of them.
So you might find something on the menu you've never tried or even heard of. Adam says Automatic Seafood is fine dining in a casual environment, so no white tablecloths. It'll be open soon. For some chefs, inspiration comes from within.
The name Roots is on purpose. It's the roots of who I am.
And a chef who's up for a challenge, actually more of a chef showdown.
And we just set a timer for an hour, and we just practice making food, making dishes.
But it's no battle for this amazing chef when it comes to creating memorable cuisine. We talked about seafood, southern food, even food inspired by the Mediterranean. So how about something with an Asian flavor? You can find that here at Abhi's. This next amazing chef is from Nepal, but Abhi's is a multicultural restaurant featuring flavors from many different countries. And here you can get as adventurous as you like. The first thing Abhi Senju wants you to know about his place at the summit, it's not an Indian restaurant.
It is an Asian restaurant with the delicacies from all over Southeast Asia. You know, all of my favorites, you know, and that's the kind of thing I wanted. You know, I just didn't want to focus on Japanese or just on Chinese or Thai or just Nepalese. That's where I'm from. But I have everything, you know, like the greatest hits from everywhere, all my favorite ones.
Abhi is from Kathmandu. He went to high school in India, then college here in Alabama. He graduated from UAB with a degree in Management Information Systems.
I just got the degree for my parents. You know, you better get a degree. So I was up the wall and I said, no, let me do my thing.
His thing was anything creative. He dreamed of being a musician in a rock band, but food seemed to pull him in a different direction.
I was, yes, a foodie, even before I knew I was a foodie.
His challenge was to get Southerners to even try some of his delicacies.
It's a big challenge, but I said, I love challenges. And I was like, all right, so slowly, you know, first you got to change the mind, and then you got to change the palate.
So he worked on his friends first, slowly bringing them on board.
I'm going to use a little cumin, and they'll be like, oh, you use cumin. And I'm like, hey, you know, you eat chilies, it has cumin in it. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay.
Abhi is famous for his momos. They're as common in Southeast Asia as hamburgers are here, and his are delicious. We tried them with the Alabama sauce and the street sauce, but he's most proud of his ramen. I was surprised to learn real ramen is not the stuff I survived on through college. Abhi's ramen is so much more.
Birmingham didn't have a proper ramen. So when I started my first restaurant, I brought the ramen, and it was voted number 40 in the world. My buddy sent me that, and I'm like, Birmingham, Alabama, number 40 in the world. I was like, whoa!
He came in just behind 2 restaurants in Japan and then one in Los Angeles. Not too bad for a place in Birmingham, Alabama. Albie also owns Momo's at Pizitz Food Hall, and he's opening up another restaurant in the old Avo building. Our next amazing chef didn't begin rooted in the kitchen. Brandon Kane wanted to be a pilot, so his dad spent more than $100,000 on flight school. And then, just before graduation, Brandon decided he wanted to go to culinary school. Now, his dad refused to pay for that dream, but Brandon followed it anyway, and it led him here to 2nd Avenue North and a life he didn't even know he wanted.
I've always felt like an outsider in the South, even though I'm a Southerner through and through. But inside of me, I've always felt like I'm a little West Coast rebel.
Brandon Kane is a rebel. The owner and executive chef of Roots and Revelry is from Redondo Beach, California, and says his love of cooking started there.
Some of my early memories, 5 years old, is my dad had a little stool for me, a little step stool that I could stand on with a little. It was definitely a knife. It wasn't a safety knife by any means, but I would chop onions. You know, he'd call me his little sous chef.
Years later, the family moved to Alabama. Brandon says he sulked about that decision for quite a while and never intended to stay in the South.
In my head, I was either going back home to LA or New York. There was nothing else in the plans. Like, nobody could deter. I wouldn't buy a house here because I knew if I bought a house, I was stuck.
But then she came along.
And I met my wife. And like just changed everything. Like, she's born and raised here. You know, we have a beautiful little girl, 2-year-old daughter. We've been married almost going on 4 years this year. Been together almost 7 or 8, going on 8 this year. And she's home, you know. Birmingham all of a sudden changed.
Family is important to Brandon. He lost his mother when he was only 3 years old. She was Hawaiian and Filipino, and he says that culture is a big part of who he is.
I don't want to open a Filipino restaurant because first of all, I'm not this full-blooded Filipino guy that, I don't want to try to portray that at all. But the name Roots is on purpose. It's the roots of who I am.
But he gives his patrons a taste of his roots in every dish. We tried the most asked for appetizer, the PB&J. It's pork belly with cashew butter and jam. Then onto the prime strip with fingerling potatoes and charred Brussels sprouts. R&R is the anchor restaurant in the Thomas Jefferson Towers on 2nd Avenue North. Brandon says his rebellious side is what brought him to this beautiful historic building.
For most people in Birmingham, west side of 20th Street is not in their day-to-day stuff, so the challenge was to try to change that and to be a part of something great.
Now the young man who fought tooth and nail to get out of the South is the Magic City's biggest advocate.
More than anything, I believe in Birmingham.
And Brandon believes in food. By the way, he doesn't fly anymore and hasn't since 9/11. Being a chef isn't easy, especially if you own your own restaurant.
It's extraordinarily difficult, and only a handful survive.
We'll meet one amazing chef whose success shines in not one, but 2 restaurants. And a chef who's making a name for herself on TV and proving great dishes don't have to be complicated.
Wowing people just by doing something very simple the right way is exactly how I believe food should be.
Plus, we'll go on a taste adventure.
It's more exciting, it's more taste bud spanking is what we say. We're trying to always get better and better.
With more of Alabama's amazing chefs. We've been meeting some of Alabama's amazing chefs, some making a name for themselves, others already very well known, like Chris Hastings. If James Beard Award winner Frank Stitt is the king of restaurateurs in Central Alabama, then Chris is the crown prince.
I always had a very personal relationship with food.
Chris Hastings turned that personal relationship into 2 very successful restaurants in Birmingham. But he traces the origin of his career back to a tragedy when he was a senior in high school in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was working as a busboy in a restaurant when his mother died. He says the chef and owner could see his grief and gave him a promotion. Time to catch his breath.
We would like you to just work with the chef and work out life between this 24 by 18 inch cutting board, and a year from now we'll evaluate whether you want to go back to school or whatever.
He decided to go to culinary school in Rhode Island. Then, longing for life in the South, moved to Atlanta, then Birmingham, gaining experience at every stop.
Learn as much as you can. Get more out of that job than a paycheck. You want knowledge. Knowledge is equally as valuable as the currency of money.
He opened Hot and Hot Fish Club in 1995. It was touted as one of the first farm-to-table restaurants in the Southeast, but don't call farm-to-table a fad.
It tells you where your feet are through your mouth. Trust me, this ain't no fad. This has been around a long time.
He lives and eats within the rhythm of the seasons, which he says is only logical.
I don't believe in eating tomatoes year-round. I don't eat tomatoes any time but between May and the end of September. Not interested in a ripe tomato at all in between, outside of those dates.
No tomatoes in December.
They're not worth eating.
Okay.
Found a tomato in December worth eating?
Okay.
Show it to me.
Okay. His newest endeavor is Ovenbird and Birmingham's Pepper Place. As an avid sportsman, it's an idea he'd been kicking around in his head for 20 years.
I always loved going to places, catching or shooting, and then cooking over an open fire what we had caught or shot, and then sharing the stories of the meal or the experience around the fire and a meal. And I always wanted to have a restaurant that reflected that.
We tried some of the fire-cooked food, the ceviche and empanadas to start, then this beautiful dish, beef fat candle, gorgeous and delicious. Chris admits Hot and Hot is probably for more of a mature economic crowd, but Ovenbird makes his food available to a wider audience.
If you're a young person at a new job and you're making $35,000 a year, you can come in and get a couple of plates, small plates of food and a glass of wine, and you don't have to hock your Jimmy Choo shoes.
All this because a chef in North Carolina wanted to help a busboy deal with the loss of his mother.
Life's kind of serendipitous kind of way of taking you down a road you didn't expect to go down, and it ended up okay.
I would say better than okay, especially for all of us who get to enjoy Chris's food. By the way, his original restaurant, Hot and Hot Fish Club, that's just about to celebrate 25 years, is moving to Pepper Place to be near his newest restaurant, Ovenbird. David Bancroft is an avid hunter and fisherman just like Chris. His love for cooking started because he wanted to honor his catch and kill and share the bounty with friends and family. Now he is sharing his talents with all of us at 2 different restaurants in Auburn and with the country on TV. It's not what he thought he'd end up doing, but David Bancroft says cooking is exactly what he was born to do. Born in Mobile, raised in San Antonio, Texas, he came back to Bama to attend Auburn University and major in finance and accounting like his dad. But then in his senior year, just shy of graduation, he dropped out to become a chef.
For me, the science of molecular gastronomy was simple. Not that it is simple, it's just that it clicks. For me, my brain just processed it and I understood it.
His restaurant is named Acre because it sits on 1 acre of land on Glen Avenue in Auburn. Also on that land, a small garden where David grows some of the fresh vegetables that end up on the menu.
Start from our property, our acre here. If I can't get it off my land, then I'll move a mile or 2 miles or 5 or 10. So I really like to just aim small to miss small. And if I can reduce the amount of travel in our food, then I'm happy.
David is a James Beard 2-time semifinalist, but maybe best known for his appearance on the Food Network's Iron Chef. He's very active on social media, and apparently that got the attention of some of the show's producers.
And then one day I got a phone call and said, hey, so we're with a show, you might have heard of it. It's called Iron Chef. It's like,
he recruited 2 of his chef friends, Adam Evans and Caleb Fisher, shut down his restaurant for 3 days and started practicing for the show.
And we just set a timer for an hour, and we just practiced making food, making dishes, and writing some recipes that would translate into whatever kind of secret ingredients.
Chef Bancroft.
It paid off big time. His team won the competition.
I love manipulating things that you would expect out of a Southern chef and recreate it and provide a different avenue that you still get and understand because it's still collard greens. But we're just going to take the collard greens, we're going to puree them with buttermilk, fold it into a dough and make spätzle.
Now David's opened a second restaurant in Auburn called Bow and Arrow. He says it's Tex-Mex meets Alabama potluck. It's different than Acre, but he promises just as good.
If you can be really good, then you should be really good.
Did you recognize Adam Evans? He was David's teammate on Iron Chef, and we introduced you to him earlier in the show. He's opening up Automatic Seafood and Oysters in Lakeview. They aren't the only Alabama Iron Chefs. Dwayne Nutter was on the show back in 2007. While he didn't win, he says the experience was invaluable. And competition cooking isn't Dwayne's only stage. He also does comedy. While he is hilarious, his food is no joke. At 6'6", Dwayne Nutter is a giant among men. You might more easily imagine him on a defensive line than in front of a stove. You look like you should be a linebacker or something.
I know. Well, it was one helmet to the knee in high school. His name was David Dahlin, took me out. sent me straight to home ec.
He's not kidding. In home ec, he learned the basics and quickly realized cooking was a way to feed his need to create.
You start putting these ideas together much like a music producer, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, it might be a hit, you gotta try it.
He left his job as executive chef at One Flew South, a fine dining restaurant at Atlanta's airport, to open Southern National on Dauphin Street in Mobile. He's a Louisiana native who grew up in Seattle. Those places inspired this dish, salmon with oysters.
We have a high burnout rate here in the chef kingdom, as we call it. Yeah, it is. It's grueling hours. You gotta love it. I couldn't pull off a 9 to 5.
So you just do a 9 to 9.
Yeah, I was doing like an 8 to 11.
There you go. That's much better. But cooking isn't all he's good at. He's also spent plenty of time on stage as a stand-up comic. Are there any similarities at all between cooking and comedy?
Yeah.
What are they?
You have to have a sense of humor to stay in it.
Yeah.
I would say that's because if you're not laughing, you're crying, and that's comedy, right?
Yeah. But there is a lot of laughter at Southern National. Dwayne stays out front most of the time, prepping and meeting guests who can easily walk up and chat as he chops. His goal as a chef is to give patrons a taste of the city with his own twist.
Get a little flavor of Mobile, and then the way someone creative like me will look at it through a different lens. So it's a lot of familiar things given to you in a different way.
Now to another amazing chef who's making a name for herself on a different cooking show. Yeah, I said herself. While women traditionally do the cooking in the family, that's not reflected in the restaurant industry. Most chefs are men. That did not stop Kelsey Barnard Clark. As a matter of fact, she said it intrigued her. Now she's not only a chef with her own restaurant, she's dominating in a male-dominated field. Kelsey Barnard Clark is very much a modern woman.
We do pot roast at KBC, which is like short ribs.
But this 29-year-old Dothan native chef and restaurateur is very old-fashioned when it comes to food.
If your grandmother wouldn't know what it was, we're not going to do it.
The beautifully restored 100-year-old building in downtown Dothan that houses KBC is a reflection of the tradition and nostalgia Kelsey wants to bring out in her menu selections.
There's a reason why you braise a meat for 2 days. It's because you're pulling juices out of it for 2 days. Well, if you put it in a pressure cooker for an hour, I just don't think it's the same thing.
Kelsey says cooking wasn't really a choice for her.
I very much feel like this was sort of chosen for me, I guess. I never considered a different career path. I was cooking when I was as young as I can remember. But it was literally like I was born knowing that I wanted to do this.
Not even 30 years old yet, she's an experienced and confident chef and business owner. This is her second restaurant.
I opened my first restaurant when I was 23, which was insane. I still look back on that. And I think actually that is what has made me quote unquote successful, is because it's kind of like anything. Try to have like faith with a child because you're stupid.
And her talents are being recognized outside her hometown. She's a contestant on Bravo's Top Chef Kentucky, battling it out with other amazing chefs from around the country.
That's something that was really beautiful about the chefs I was with, is where you would expect them to like try to sabotage you, they were helping you. And it was just a very shocking, wonderful experience to see, especially in a competition.
We tried her slider trio, the steak frites, and something I resisted, but now it is my favorite.
I'm becoming quite known for the deviled eggs that we make. They're not just a deviled egg, and I made them on Top Chef, so people always want the deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs topped with barbecue and fried pickled okra. As far as the outcome of Top Chef, that was taped months ago, and she's not saying a word.
I'm a fantastic liar now.
Perhaps because commercial kitchens are dominated by men, Kelsey says they're a lot like a locker room. And she admits she's developed quite a potty mouth for being in them for so long. But she's a good Southern lady. She said she hides it very well. We didn't hear one single four-letter word. But four-letter words aren't all bad. Some can help define a person, like the word chef.
We like the creative part of it, the logistics of making all the things come together and happen at one time.
This amazing chef says he knew what he wanted to do from an early age. Here in Birmingham's Forest Park neighborhood, you can try some dishes that are definitely out of the norm. But creating culinary curiosities almost wasn't a reality for our next amazing chef, because Mac Russell was supposed to be a dentist. I mean, his dad's a dentist, his sister's a dentist, his granddad was a dentist, but he had other plans. He dreamed of being a chef, and that dream came true with the food truck and now the Whistling Table. Mac Russell is the guy to see if you're looking for a culinary adventure. He says his goal is to make food that spanks your taste buds.
We start eating the oysters and we're like, what is going on? Like, what is that? Like, I've never had that. What is that? What is that? You're like, look at the menu and it's easy conversation. It's not, it's more exciting. It's more taste bud spanking is what we say. We're trying to always get better and better.
The Selma native has more energy than, well, anyone. And he lights up when he describes his dishes, like this octopus with popcorn and pomegranate.
Marinated octopus and a ton of citrus and a ton of depth of flavor there. If you shut your eyes, like you're gonna know it's gonna be like eating nachos. But when you eat it, you're like, oh, like I'm just trying to get that. Oh, wow.
Mac is as fickle as he is energetic, and he likes to shake things up on the menu.
That could be this today, and tomorrow I could come over here and it could be the pork dish, the Spanish, or and so I kind of try to do a balance of the menu to where it's like some fun, exciting stuff.
He went to culinary school in Birmingham, and he worked with standout chefs like Chris Hastings at Hot and Hot Fish Club. He started Shindig's Catering and Food Truck with a partner. But Mac says his insatiable need to try new things and his high energy ended that business relationship.
We'd do this dish and it'd be perfect, and the next day I'd be like, okay, I read this book and this is what they're doing. I saw this show and this is what they're doing. And and after years of that, he was just like, when is it gonna be good enough? Stop. and that's when I realized that it's never good enough.
Mac says he just wants to keep people on their toes with his food. The highest form of flattery for this chef is when a customer drops a 4-letter word.
As much as against cursing, but it's like kind of fun when people lose control of that a little bit and, let one slip.
So don't expect to see Mac Russell resting on his laurels.
As much as this is great, it does have to always be getting better and better. And then it also has to be fun and and kind of keep me and my chefs, excited and pushing forward.
Mac has some pretty famous fans. He's catered events for Chef Frank Stitt, and he did all the food for Nick Saban's daughter's wedding. You don't have to be born in the South to be a good Southern cook. Josh Quick is an example of that. Don't tell my grandmother, but his chicken pot pie is better. If you find yourself in North Alabama, swing by Florence and check him out. He may be from New York, but he's a Southerner at heart.
It's funny if people ask me where you're from, and if I say New York, and I don't know if I can really claim that. I've been back to where I was born once since I left at age 1.
Josh Quick says he inherited his love of cooking from his dad.
He always had that passion for food, so we shared that, and it was a good bonding time for us.
Were you a good cook even as a kid?
I probably thought so.
You can find him in the kitchen at Odette in Florence, where he makes masterpieces like this chicken pot pie, the best I have ever had. Josh says at Odette, you'll get American cuisine. It's a melting pot inspired by the diverse staff.
It's regionally inspired by the products, and then we pull flavors from all over. I mean, my sous chef's from Peru. We've got a young lady that works for us from Malaysia, so they'll share some of the things that they make, and we'll incorporate that into our menu a lot of times.
But don't get too used to what you see on that menu. Josh likes to shake it up.
Through the past 5 years, really kind of established what our food was going to be, and then just kind of try to get better each time and evolve as our guests feel comfortable with what we're doing. We evolve the menu a little more.
He trained at Disney's culinary school and says he can't imagine doing anything else.
I think you just kind of get almost addicted to the pace, the creativity, interacting with people. I mean, it's not something you do just to do it. You live it, you love it, and just kind of, I don't know what else I would do. Like it's kind of who you are as opposed to what you do.
So much amazing food around Alabama. And now finally, it is time for dessert. And who better to talk about that than James Beard's 2018 Outstanding Pastry Chef winner, Dollister Miles. She cooks up the sweet treats for all of Frank Stitt's restaurants. She is camera shy and she's very humble, but we sat down with her just after she picked up her medal. Dollister Miles likes to let her desserts do the talking. She had been nominated for the James Beard Award several times and really didn't expect to win in 2018.
It was the greatest feeling, to know that your work is being known and everybody loves them.
She's been baking delectable desserts like these since she was a child. It was an important ingredient in her family.
That's how we shared family time together, and they really enjoyed it. And, you know, bring my cousins and we would have a ball. I'm like, whoa, this looks like fun and it tastes good, and I want to get in on this. So, you know, we be in fighting over the spatulas and the whisk and stuff.
Ironically, Dollister is diabetic and can't eat the mouth-watering sweets she creates.
Well, really, I'm not supposed to touch any of it, but you know, you have to taste. Eat it in moderation.
Dollister is from Bessemer, and she's been with Frank since the very beginning. She's probably best known for that coconut cake you just saw. Many young chefs find inspiration in those with more experience.
Frank's amazing. I mean, he's the greatest guy in the world.
I really love Chris Hastings' food.
Big names making a big difference to many of Alabama's amazing chefs. Three of the chefs we've introduced you to over the past hour have been announced as 2019 James Beard Foundation nominees for Best Chef in the South. David Bancroft of Acre and Bow and Arrow, both in Auburn, Bill Breon at Fisher's and Playa in Orange Beach, and Timothy Hansis of Johnny's in Homewood. All amazing chefs, and they all have a good chance of becoming the next winner. Over the last hour, we have met a lot of Alabama's amazing chefs, and what we've learned as we've traveled to many different restaurants and tasted so much delicious food is that some of the young chefs gained their inspiration and even earned experience from the greats. Frank Stitt is considered the godfather of Southern cuisine, and right beside him, his protege, Chris Hastings. Both have transformed the food scene and raised the bar for Alabama chefs.
I really love Chris Hastings' food.
Frank's amazing. I mean, he's the greatest guy in the world.
It's something we heard over and over again as we got to know Alabama's amazing chefs.
Moved to Birmingham and worked for Chris Hastings at Hot and Hot for a couple of years.
I remember being a line cook in New Orleans, just starting out, and getting Frank Stitt's cookbook and reading and then, you know, learning about Frank.
These two have had a hand in the careers of so many who came after them.
As I had to navigate solo, was looking to the godfathers. I mean, you've got Frank Stitt and you've got Chris Hastings, and both of those guys made a huge splash across all over the South and made Southern food relevant.
I wouldn't really give Frank that credit. And the way I describe it is, in 1982, imagine the universe didn't exist, and the big bang moment was Frank Stitt opening up Highlands Bar and Grill, and the universe has expanded out from that moment.
That expansion started with Chris, who was one of the first to work with Frank, then become successful on his own. But that almost didn't happen. Chris says even before Frank offered him a job as sous chef at Highlands in 1986, he had decided to turn it down and stay in Atlanta where he was working.
It was the strangest thing ever. I was perfectly prepared to say, no, thank you very much. I love you and your restaurant, and it's been a tremendous experience. And instead of saying all of that, yes came out of my mouth, and so to this day I don't have an explanation for why, other than it's just what was meant to be.
That relationship sparked many more connections and continues to produce outstanding chefs.
I'm just delighted to see their successes. I feel real connected to the farm and to the ingredients. And so I think that a lot of the people that have come through and worked with us have taken that with them. And so an excitement and an enthusiasm about ingredients, about cooking, about just the pleasure of good food.
As they've trained the next generation, they've also homegrown their competition.
I'll send you out the door when it's time for you to leave with more knowledge than you came with, and if you aspire to be an owner one day, I can certainly give you all the requisite skills to do so. Good luck competing against me. I'll see you at the finish line.
But don't for a second think there's any animosity. It's a tight-knit industry where everybody knows everybody, and most of these folks are very close friends.
We are all competitive. It is a competitive industry, but we share anything that a fellow chef needs. We're there.
I'm very fortunate and grateful to have, you know, a Frank and a Chris.
So you see, the culinary world is a lot like a family. This family tree has branches growing in many directions, producing different kinds of fruit, or in this case, dishes. And when you visit one of Alabama's amazing chefs, you can be certain those dishes will be delicious. Thanks for joining us, everyone. For WVTM 13 Chronicle, I'm Lisa Crane.